What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, that means you're new. I'm Mark. What's good with y'all? Go check out my other videos. Check them out. Check them out. But first, stay on this one. So before I get started on this video, I do want to say this video was supposed to be uploaded yesterday. It was supposed to be done yesterday. Microphones just, they were working, but not working. I don't know how to explain it. And truthfully, I'm not even going to know if this video is fully, up to par until I'm done recording. But we're going to thug it out. We're going to get through it. So, you read the title. You saw the thumbnail. No more beating around the bush. 3 worst types... My voice cracked there. 3 worst types of gun owners and why I believe they are the worst. But let's get right into it. So, before I get started, I do want to say, though, I know this is going to piss some of y'all off. And if you're getting pissed off, but you don't fall under any of these categories, you're wrongfully getting upset. You're wrongfully offended. Now, number 1, we're going to start with the FUD. And if you guys don't know really what a FUD is and why I dislike FUD so much, this video will kind of touch into it, but I've done a video like really diving into it. So we're just going to get started on it. So the term FUD comes from Elmer Fudd of Looney Tunes, obviously. What does Elmer Fudd do 24/7? Whenever we see him, he is hunting rabbits with his double-barrel shotgun. Now, with that being the case, right, let's go ahead and try to, take what clues we can get about that, and see what kind of person we're dealing with here. We're usually dealing with an older person. We're usually dealing with somebody who, the guns they own would fall along the lines of like a double-barrel shotgun, 1911s, maybe a couple revolvers. That's really it. Why do I believe they're some of the worst gun owners out there? I'm going to get right into it. So, a majority of them do not fully understand what the Second Amendment was created for, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I have such an issue with it. They use the Second Amendment as an excuse to hunt. That's really it. Oh, yeah, I support the Second Amendment. I support the right to hunt. Hunting is not in the Second Amendment. Not only is it not even mentioned in the Second Amendment, there are 0 animals mentioned in the Second Amendment, other than, technically speaking, if you want to argue, oh, well, the word bear is in there, but it's not bear like the animal. It's bear as in to possess, obviously. Regardless, though, nothing about the Second Amendment says hunting. Nothing at all. That will never change. There's no, oh, yeah, well, what if you try to change all the definitions of these words? That doesn't change what the definitions of the words when it was written meant. Plain and simple. So, on top of the fact that they don't know what Orley say, they either know and ignore, but they don't know what the Second Amendment was actually created for, they also really, they get on my nerves. And here's why. FUDs are, generally speaking, the same type of people that, let's say, you go to a gun store, right? FUD behind the counter. Let's say you're a single mother. You know what they're going to try to sell you? Those snub-nosed 38 Taurus revolvers. With the pink handle especially. They will be like, oh, look, oh, it matches your nail. They'll do whatever they'll say whatever they want to just to try to get you to buy that gun. They don't care. Like, they really don't. All right? FUDs are the same type of people who, when they look at, for example, right, because I keep a spare mag with me, they'll look at this mag right here. This is a 15-round mag. Nothing super special about it, and if y'all think you guys can see 15. Nothing super special about it. Oh, well, you don't need that many rounds. If you need that many rounds, you're just a bad shot. I'm sorry, bro, but guess what? There are situations where, I need more than one mag. That's just life. Deal with it. The chances of us having to use our guns is already very low, but we keep them just in case. So guess what? By that logic, why would I not have extra ammo on me? Why would I limit my magazine capacity? Why would I get a firearm that can't even carry a good amount of ammunition while still being comfortable? You see what I mean? These are the same type of people who would look at you and genuinely say, along the same lines that Biden would say too. It's very funny to me, because these are the same people who are like, oh yeah, we hate Democrats, we all this, like, we hated Obama, we hate Hillary, all this other stuff, but apparently they have no problem agreeing with Joe Biden when Biden says, "Oh, what do you need a 30-round magazine? What do you think the deer are wearing Kevlar vests?" Like, I'm sorry, but that's the truth of the matter here. FUDs, whether they know it or not, they're anti-Second Amendment. And realistically speaking, beyond this, what the Second Amendment was originally written for, they are against you properly defending yourself. And some of y'all might argue, oh no, that isn't true. They're just stuck in their ways. I'm sorry, but guess what? The phrase "an old dog can't be taught new tricks," that's false. An old dog can indeed be taught new tricks. I'm like, I'm telling you this for a fact because of the fact that I've literally had people in my family who have been set in their ways about firearms for over 3 decades. And I sit down and have a conversation with them for an hour and a half, and I have them wanting to buy a gun. What do you mean? An old dog can indeed be taught new tricks. They just don't want to learn them. They seen what these new tricks are and said, no, we don't want that. So therefore, in the end, yes, you can argue FUDs are stuck in their ways. Does that make them being stuck in their ways right? No way, shape, or form. And them trying to put you in their ways is, realistically speaking, them being like, hey, yeah, well, you have this big gash along your arm. We're going to give you a Band-Aid to help with that. Why do I say it's like that? Because instead of actually being able to protect yourself in a more proper manner, say with a semi-auto striker-fired handgun that you can, get a good capacity out of, they'll recommend a 1911. They'll recommend a snub-nose revolver. For home defense, they'll tell you get a double-barrel shotgun. I feel like I'm harping a little too much on the FUDs here, but I want to prove my point that, unfortunately, FUDs oftentimes are used for the face of the Second Amendment for the people who are outside of the 2A community or the gun community. Because truth of the matter is that while we know that's not the truth, while we in the gun community know that's not the case, people outside the gun community do think that's the case. And that's where it becomes such a big problem because, truthfully speaking, the people who they think are like, yeah, these are the people who, they know what they're talking about guns. They don't know anything. They're dumb. I'm sorry, but they do some of the dumbest things. They say some of the dumbest phrases. Oh, well, 9mm will kill your body, but 45 will kill your soul. I'm sorry, but come on, bro. I'm going to get off the topic of FUDs because I'm already almost 8 minutes in and I've been pretty much just roasting FUDs. Moving on. Of course, it doesn't want to work. So, moving on. Number 2, the thug. Now, if you guys have watched my older videos, you guys can admit, yeah, I used to be a little bit more wild. I used to keep myself a little more unfiltered. I grew up on the block. I'm sorry to say it, but whether y'all want to agree, whether you even like it or not, I grew up on the block. I grew up around all these people. Like, I grew up around thugs with guns. I grew up around them. I can tell you right now a lot of problems with it. First one, a majority of them do not practice safe firearm handling. Whether they are intoxicated or not, that's another aspect I'm going to get into in a second. Generally speaking, a lot of thugs I've seen with guns are not safe. I know several people who have accidentally shot their guns off simply just playing with it. I know somebody who slammed a cylinder shut on a revolver with his finger on the trigger and pulled the trigger and then shot himself in the foot. Like, it's what? I know people who literally, when taking pictures, have accidentally shot their guns off, all because they don't practice firearm safety. They're not handling these firearms in a safe manner. Therefore, it's leading to a lot of problems. It's leading to a lot of negligent discharges. Now, moving on just from the aspect that even when they're sober, they're not fully practicing firearm safety. A lot of thugs with guns like to get intoxicated with their firearms, whether it be on pills, whether they're smoking a ton of weed, whether they're drinking alcohol, whether they're doing whatever. They literally will sit there and get insanely messed up and then just start, showing their guns off, pointing them around. And I'm sorry, but the truth of the matter is that makes all of us look bad. That makes all firearm owners look bad because it makes all of us look like we're criminals who don't know how to act. How many people do you know that have pointed guns at somebody as a joke? Unfortunately, I have to say that I know, or at least knew, because I don't associate myself with them anymore. I knew a couple who did that. Never did they do it to me, because I promise right now, I literally told them after the first time I heard about it, I said, hey, if you do that to me, I am going to shoot you. Sorry, but if you point a gun at me, I don't care if it's a joke or not. I'm not taking it as a joke. Plain and simple. But how many of y'all can say that? It's not something that, we should sit here and be like, yeah, let's, like, I'm sorry, but these thugs who have guns oftentimes are some of the worst gun owners. They are, because they don't practice safety. They're doing some of the dumbest things with them, whether it be being intoxicated while operating them, whether it be pointing them at each other, whether it be keeping their finger on the trigger, whether it be just shooting off in the air at random houses. You guys have been on YouTube Shorts. Let's not sit here and act like none of us have gone on YouTube Shorts. We have all seen it. We have all seen it. And guess what? All the videos you're seeing of people that got switches that aren't legal FFLs, that haven't paid the government their money for that, guess what? All of them do fall under this same category. Like, I just saw a video yesterday and I had to make fun of this. I saw a guy with a dagger that had a switch on it. Really? Like, bro went out of his way to make sure he got the switch. And if I'm not mistaken, he even had like a stick mag or a drum mag on it. But bro couldn't go out of his way to buy a Glock. And I own a dagger. You guys know that. But all I'm saying is that when you sit here and look at how firearms need to actually be handled, in what capacity do any of these thugs follow those rules? None. Some of the worst firearm owners in existence. Not to mention, a lot of these thugs, on top of just being unsafe with them, right? Unfortunately speaking, some of them are committing crimes with their firearms. That's obvious. That should have went without saying. They are criminals. Criminals don't follow the law. So you see what I mean? But moving on from number two, because I feel I've said enough. Number three is kind of a hybrid, of, I'll explain. So here's the thing, all right? I have a lot of people in my family who have served for the United States Armed Forces, or really the military, not even just armed forces, because if I'm not mistaken, armed forces would just fall under Army. I'm not too sure. I'm not in any form of military, as you can tell, and as I've said several times. Now, some of y'all might be wondering, okay, so what extent do you mean when you say a lot of family members? I mean, both my grandfathers served. One of them in the Navy, one of them in the Army in Vietnam. Several of my uncles have served. Yep, I was about to say, one of them was in the Navy and the Army. Another one was in the Navy for 20 plus years. My stepfather, may his soul rest in peace. He was in the Navy for about 8 years, something along those lines. I have a good few members of my family who have served. Okay. So let me start by saying that I have respect for people who serve our country. What I don't have respect for is the people who serve our country are posting videos of them shooting, right? They're having fun. They're at the range. Oh yeah, they're being these tactical guys, and then they're going to advocate against your Second Amendment right. I'm sorry, but truth of the matter is that ownership of firearms was not only made for the military, it was not made for the militia in the sense of how most people think of it now. I'm sorry, but the militia back when it was written was defined as any able-bodied person. So I don't know where that can be any more unclear, but it's kind of funny because they fall under a weird hybrid, right? Because I'll explain why. You have the extremely anti-2A people who served in our military, right? Whatever branch it could be. The extremely anti-2A to the point they won't even own firearms. You have the tactical guys who consistently want you to spend your money on their products and do some of the dumbest stuff. Then you have the hybrid, and the hybrid is some of the most irritating things ever. Here's what I'm referring to. These are the type of people that will... These are the type of people that when they're shooting, draw, bam, 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 bam. and then reholster. These are the same type of people who will do all that, make themselves look absolutely dumb, nearsighted, basically blind, because you have to look around that much to to assess if there's another threat. When in all reality, we have this thing called peripheral vision. I'm sorry, but I can see where my hand ends right about here. Wait, hold on, move back a tiny bit. Yeah, I can see to about here. Okay, that's called peripheral vision, guys. It is very useful because it allows you to see more than directly ahead of you. You don't need to look around for 30 seconds and try to judge every angle and see if there's even an ant coming at you. These are the same people who will do that, but will then tell you, hey, just remember, guys, I'm a trained professional. You can't use these weapons. Okay, these were weapons I used in war, so you shouldn't have them. It's a real weird hybrid because, truth be told, it's a hybrid of two already groups of annoying people to make an extremely annoying group of people. And it's very irritating for me. It truthfully is. And if you're wondering, okay, well, why do the two groups themselves, why are they already irritating? Well, as I said, we got the first one. They served in the army. They literally swore an oath to uphold our rights. And bam, what happens? They're going ahead and trying to advocate against the Second Amendment. Then you have the tactical dude who, I will say, some of them are pretty pro 2A. However, what do? They sit there and will tell you, hey, you're not going to be able to protect yourself properly unless you spend $8,000 on a rifle, $7,000 on a handgun. You buy this specific kit and everything all off our website as well. Don't forget our promo code. When you take both of that and meld it together, you're getting some people that it's really not that good of a group here. And it really kind of irritates me because while I would normally just say the tactical guy is the worst kind of gun owner, I would say the tactical guy that has a superiority issue. He has an issue thinking he is superior to everyone else when it comes to rights. I think those are more so the worst out of those two groups that you can get, because you get both of them together and that's exactly what we have now. And it's such a big issue. But in the end, I think that about wraps it up for this video because, truth be told, I technically gave you guys 4 of the worst types of gun owners because I'm like that. I do it for you guys, But with that being said, I think that about wraps it up. Y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit all. And whether or not you agree with me, make sure to check out all my other videos. Y'all make sure to stay legal, stay safe, stay dangerous. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.